cosine 25, and we're going to enter that, store that into x. So we hit store x and hit enter. Okay, so now we apply that to our quadratic equation, and we're going to put in x. We're going to open parentheses, put in x plus, and then second and square root, and we're going to put in x again for our cosine, 16 cosine 25 degrees squared. That's our b. Minus 4 times 28, close that parentheses. Now, this first set of parentheses, that's just for your radicand. You also need a second set for the whole numerator. So you got to close the parentheses there. And now we can divide that by 2. And we hit enter. And we get 12.2. So if we hit second and enter, and come up here and put in a minus, we get 2.293. Okay, well, there's a problem with that. And let's take a look why. We're going to leave this here, we're not going to clear it yet. Let's go back to our page. So we end up getting x is approximately equal to 12.2, and the other one is x is approximately equal to 2.29. Well, it can only be one of these. The problem with this is that this angle is much smaller than this one. So this is the largest angle. That means this has to be the largest side. So that eliminates the 12.2 because that is much larger than the largest side. Okay, the largest angle has to go with the largest side. So 8 has to be the largest side. That means x cannot be 12.2. Okay, so we get x is 12.2 or 2.29. But we have to be careful here because the answer asks to round to the nearest thousandth, so we have to take this answer exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to store this into n. So we're going to hit alpha and n. Or we're going to, first of all, let's delete that. We have to store this answer, so we're going to hit store. Come on now. Let's use second and answer. Since this is the last one that we called up, and we're going to store that into alpha and n. And hit enter. Okay, and now when you hit enter, you should get that number again, which we do. Okay, so now we can go back to our sheet, and we're going to say, alright, this is in n. We're going to make a note of that. Okay, so we know that this side is 2.29, but having it stored in n, we get the exact number. So now we can go ahead and use Heron's formula, but first we have to find out what s is. So we're going to take each of the sides, 8 plus 6 plus, we're going to use n for 2.29, right? And we're going to divide that by 2. Okay, so let's go back to our calculator, and we got n, right? So we're going to put in 8 plus 6 is 14, right? Plus, and then we're going to hit alpha and n for our 2.29, close the parentheses, divide by 2, and we get enter. We get 8.14. Now we got to store that. So we're going to store that in this O. So we're going to hit store, and it hits answers, comes up, alpha and O, and hit enter. Okay, so we have that in O. So we're going to make a note of that. And we get 8.15. Yeah, 8.15. And we stored that in O. So now our area is going to be square root of O. We're going to put O for 8.15, parentheses, open parentheses for that one. O minus 8 times O minus 6 times O minus, we used, the other side was 2.29, so that's going to be N. Apply the square root to that. Okay, so let's see what that looks like on the calculator. We're going to hit second and square root, and we're going to put, we said we were going to use O, alpha O, and then open parentheses again, alpha O minus 8, close that parentheses, open it up, alpha O minus 6, close that one, open it, alpha O for 8.15, and then alpha N, or we got to put a minus there. Put a minus. No, we got to back up. Minus alpha N, close it up, and close it for our radical, and hit enter. Now, first of all, let's make sure we got everything right. We got O for 8.15, and then 8.15 minus 8, and 8.15 minus 6, and 8.15 minus 2.29 for N. And we close it up and hit enter. And we get 3.87, but that's only one triangle, 3.877. That's only one triangle, right? If you look here, we've only got, so we have to multiply that times 2, and we get 7.7549. So we've got to round this to the nearest tenth hundredths, right? So that's going to be 7.75. And I tried that in the calculator. Okay, so we had, for an answer, we got 3.878, We multiplied that times 2, and we got 7.7549, and it goes on. And round that off to nearest hundredths, and we get 7.75. And I put that in the WebAssign, and it came up to be the correct answer. And that's how you do that problem.